back
I would have
out.
had no idea.
Hi.
I too do not have an Instagram for the cats. It's just too much for me, but I wish I did.
It's too much. They are listen, all of our animals are very special. They all deserve their own celebrity status and Instagram account. But, there's only so much we can do.
Yeah, there's only so much we can do in our busy, busy lives. I'm sure that Simon or Alfie at some point will come and join because they always get very jealous the minute I'm like on a call. They just come and like put their ass to the camera.
Beautiful. Hugo likes to put his ass on in my face in bed. He sleeps opposite me in bed. He sleeps on a pillow next to me. It's really I'm trying to break him of that habit. It's been 9 years, and I think it's too late now. But
Okay, but we're
I
not
will,
here to talk about our pets. We are
no,
here to
we
talk
aren't.
about Triptych.
We aren't.
And the
Yeah.
first video is out. You can watch Holding On Now on YouTube. There's a link in my bio.
And
Naz
so many
is
people have. So many people have watched.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone who has watched already. And Naz is the wonderful director of the videos, and we connected. When was it that we first met? Was it like February?
Yeah, it must have been almost a year ago, February or March. And someone that I know, not very well, but that I was connected to professionally, messaged me and said, "Do you know that show Dickinson?" And I was like, "Yes, it's one of my favorite shows." Like, I was totally that person who was DMing Elena about how much I love the writing and the episodes and everything. So
Great. I love a Dickinson fan. Hello, all Dickinson fans that are here right now. Thank you for watching.
Totally. And so, by the way, side note, I don't get any of the text like messages that people are writing, so I can't see any of that. So if you see stuff, you're
I
responsible
mean,
for reading it.
I'm seeing things. Somebody just said, wink if you see this, Ella, and I nearly winked and then was like, this is going to be too odd. If you didn't
No.
catch that message, you're just going to be like, why is Ella winking?
Yeah, totally. And also, a side note, there is someone here who messaged yesterday and it's their birthday. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday to all the people here who may or may not have birthdays. We send you love.
Yeah, happy birthday to all the birthdays. I think we're officially in Sagittarius season. So should we talk about a little bit about how we came together and the process of like coming up with the idea for these videos? But I also really want to hear, maybe we should back up a little bit because I also really want to hear about how you wrote, like the process of writing these songs. Because when the songs were first sent to me, the way that music video directing works is that the artist will reach out to several directors, or their team will reach out. Your team reached out to me, and the directors will listen to the song, or the songs in this case, because you wanted the same director for all three videos.
Yeah.
And they'll think about what might be, you might have a brief and you might have some suggestions of what you're thinking, in which case you did, we'll talk about that. And then so I listened to the music, and based on the music and the brief, I came up with some ideas. And but the music to me was so striking and so different. It was lyrically different and it was rhythmically different, and I'm not well versed in the
By rhythmically different, you mean there's absolutely no rhythm.
I was like, great. I'm gonna make a video for songs with no beat,
no drums.
Like, no.
Yeah, and then you called me one day and you were like, Hannah, do you think dancing is possible? Like, could we do that? And we were like, yeah, we can do that. No drums, no beat, but we can do that.
And
anyway,
sneak peek, can we say that we might have done that?
Yeah, there may be a video that is very dance heavy in a sort of bizarre Ella and Naz fashion.
Totally, very on brand for us. So yeah, tell me. Okay, so you wrote these incredibly vulnerable, beautiful songs, and I'm just gonna say that the process of listening to them for me is that I immediately loved them, but somehow they became richer and richer. And I think I told you this yesterday. I've been rewatching the video, and or even if I go on my Instagram and I see it on the grid, I watch the whole thing, even though I've heard the song so many. I can like sing you the song, but I can't stop. Once I start, I can't stop listening. So tell us about writing them and that.
Well, oh golly, I always find it so hard to chat on these things. I'm like seeing people's comments come up and I'm like, words just elude me. Anyway, I started writing these songs my first year in New York. So I've been here for just over 3 years now, and I was going through a breakup, a really nasty. I mean, our break is a breakup ever not nasty? I don't know. It was a heavy breakup. And it was from a long distance relationship, and all of these songs are kind of loosely based around the breakdown of a long distance relationship. Um, but yeah, I'd started the process of writing these songs, and then sort of put them to the side for a bit. And then when the pandemic hit in early 2020, I went back to Devon, which is my childhood home. And just I had a we like we all did, I had a lot of time on my hands, and I started sort of reprocessing this breakup. I think partially because um I felt like I was in a long distance relationship with humanity for a moment. And I think we all did. I was so like desperate for connection, and also felt completely disconnected from the world. And
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of how I'd felt at the end of this relationship. And because I had all of this time, I realized that the music I had been making and recording, I've been writing since I was a kid, but only recording since I was about 17, 18. And it's taken me a while to work out how I wanted these songs to sound. And my lyrics are so like diaristic and personal and bitty. Like my songs can be very wordy. Oh, Silas is here. He just put a heart. Hi, Silas.
Oh, hi, Silas.
Um, Silas is one of the wonderful directors from Dickinson, who me and Naz both love and adore. Pandemic, I started thinking about how ironically, so that the lyrics could stand out, but also so that you weren't like listening to them like you might listen to musical theatre music. Like I wanted the sound to kind of hug people, for it to feel like this warm hug, that from that place of safety and coziness, then you could feel the kind of gut punch of how like personal the songs are. And but anyway, I was on my own for about 6 months, or I was with my family on my own in Devon, um, just thinking a lot about these songs, thinking and making vocal loops, and playing with atmospheric electronic sounds that I hadn't played with before. And when I got back to New York, me and Thomas, my partner, and an amazing producer, spent this incredible 2 weeks making all of this music. We recorded like all three of these EPs that I'm going to be putting out, um, in 2 weeks, and a lot of the songs are completely untouched since then. It was this just really creative moment in time. I think we were both so kind of bottled up with emotion from the pandemic, and it felt so good to all of a sudden just explode
So
with.
as a creative, I'm curious, did it ever feel like it was outside of you, like almost like it was
Oh,
something that was
absolutely.
being channeled through you? Because that's what it feels like when I listen to them.
I, my happiest experience is writing, and I wonder if this is the same for you, is when it just feels completely out of body, and you have, I don't know, 3 minutes or 10 minutes or a half an hour, or I mean in some incredible cases a day, where it's just you're not attached to your body, you're just in this place where you have to write, you have to make
Yeah.
the thing. um so definitely those 2 weeks, there were many moments of that. And uh, the song I'm almost most excited to come out is called Bugs to Kill. It's the final track on the
Yeah.
EP. It
Mm-hmm.
might be it's my favorite of the videos. I'm curious to hear which is your favorite. But Bugs, and that I didn't know were pieces of the same song. They were all different kind of vocal fragments and stanzas that I'd written. and and one particular stanza, while I had to quarantine to get back into America. I had these two
Mm-hmm.
weeks where it was just me on an island without a piano. um and so I made this really strange vocal recording where I'm humming, and then I'm speaking over it, and it was an odd experiment. And I got back to New York, and the first day Thomas and I were in the studio, I pulled out this recording, and then we'd been talking about another song that I wanted to completely scrap and start again. And it was like, oh my gosh, these are actually all the same thing. And within the course of 6 hours, we'd made Bugs to Kill, and we came home and put it on, and I cried because it felt like the music that I wanted to make, and everything has been led from that.
Yeah, that really resonates for me because before I started to make films, I've been a writer for my whole life, and I feel like there are definitely pieces that I start to write, and I have a lot of essays and stories that are published, but there are definitely things that I start that feel like a struggle,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's worth going through that struggle just for the experience of having said, okay, I did it and I broke it down and I wrote it. But the things that I write that are the best pieces flow through me. They're never a
Yeah.
struggle. They just come to me and they pour out very quickly, kind of like your experience with Thomas in recording these. And they, just like you said, they don't end up changing much from that first
No,
version.
I'm really not a big editor. There are some things where I'll edit and edit and edit, but I'll never feel as good as I do with the things that come out and are just, to me, perfect in the way that I want them to be.
Yeah.
But actually, that I feel like that's a good segue into talking about the videos. One of the things that made me want to work with Naz originally was reading her piece, The Hungry Heart, I want to call it. Was it called The Hungry Heart? I just loved, I knew when I was thinking about the videos that I wanted to find someone who had a really strong writing background, or someone that was as good on story as they were on visual, because I wanted to make a departure from how diaristic and personal the songs were. I wanted to find someone who could put their own personal writer's touch on the music, their own interpretation of what this music meant. And when I first got in touch with you, I sent a very short brief just saying that I wanted to create this like unexpected slice of intimacy in my home. I knew I wanted to film all of the tracks in my house that I'm in right now.
Oh no, so I had to log back
I
out.
would have had no idea thought that a goat should be involved, but then
I stand by the goat.
Found our way back.
I stand by the goat. And you know what? You're the one who was like, after thinking about the goat for a couple of days, you got back to me and you were like, what if we do something else? What if it's a tree? And I was like,
go into this more. It's so abstract for people.
So the way that so you didn't give me, which I loved and I was grateful for, besides that brief, which was intimacy and surrealness, totally up my alley. You didn't put a very firm structure around what you wanted. You really wanted me to come up with something. And so after listening to these songs, literally, like, I would walk my dog around the park over and over again. I live in Brooklyn, and I would listen to the music. I realized that, and really the videos could have been completely standalone. They could have been anything. But I realized that they should be a film. They should be a short film and interconnected in some way.
I think that was something that I really cared about too, was finding a way for them all to be interconnected and tie in with having grown up on film sets and loving film. And 3 songs adds up to about 13 minutes, which is kind of perfect short film length.
Perfect. Yeah. And also, you know, I asked you, I said, do you want these to be literal? And you said absolutely not, which I was delighted by.
No, I really wanted them to be a departure from the literal, because my lyrics are so literal.
Yeah. And so then we started to sort of talk about the ideas, and the ideas definitely evolved over the course of time, both with the limitations that we had in place. God, yeah.
Also, we had a lot of our second video we shot, we had no idea until the morning we were shooting it.
I was literally like, I kind of had an idea, but not exactly. And I remember laying in bed the night before, and I was so exhausted because we had a really long day the day before. We shot 3 videos. We made a short film in a day and a half.
Yeah.
And
one of them is a dance video, which is just madness, that we shot a full movement piece and then 2 other videos in the same day.
Absolutely. It's complete madness. No one thought it would get done. And so I remember after we shot the first and the third video on the first day, and then the second video we had a half a day to shoot it the second day. And I remember laying in bed completely panicked the night before, thinking, what are we doing? How are we going to do this? And then I came in and I was like, okay, we're going to do a single take video. And everybody was like, no, you can't do that. And I was like, yes, we can.
DP was like, I don't think we can do that in the time frame we have.
No, Bella, our DP, was amazing. She was a rock star. She held the camera the whole time. She did a beautiful job. And
we had an incredible crew of predominantly women. Amazing people. And very, very strong, awesome women in our crew.
Very, very. Everyone was everyone was incredibly professional and incredibly good at their job. And no one was shy about opining. And I think it was a very collaborative set in that way, is that I said this going into it to everybody. I said, I want to hear your opinions, because if it's something that's going to make this better, then yeah, let's do it. I don't have an ego, and you don't have an ego going into things like this at all. It's all in service of the art ultimately. And so, thankfully, Bella was like, I don't know, like there'll be shadows. I don't know if we can do it. And then she did a really kick-ass job. And I think we got it in like the 5th or 6th take.
I think it might have been more like the 10th. It felt like the 10th to me.
I don't think it was. I think it was very, and when you see the video, Ella walks by a closed door, and that was Andros and I were in the bathroom on a little tiny
bathroom. Yeah, because we shot the whole thing in my apartment, which is only 2 floors. Yeah. And so everyone had to find places to hide, including the cats. And I can't wait for Alfie's starring role in one of the videos. I'm very, very excited to see Alfie's role. But I feel like we should talk about Holding On some more, as that is the one that is out.
Yes, absolutely. So the thing that really delights me is that I've seen these videos so many times now. And I thought that by the time they came out, I was just going to be sort of like, oh yeah, cool, we did this thing. And I'm still in love with it, like maybe more than I ever have been. And I know you said that Bugs is your favorite, but I truly, truly do not have a favorite. Like I absolutely love, because they're also different from each other too, even though they're one story, that I deeply love this video, and I don't get bored from it. And I wonder if that sounds egotistical, but I don't know.
No, I don't know about you, but I have, through different parts of the process, I have felt a different relationship to the videos. So there was a moment where I just had no idea how these were going to come out, and I was looking for the right label and the right strategy for putting out the songs, and I didn't feel able to relate to the videos that we'd made. I think out of like self-preservation, I just didn't want to look at them. I didn't want to think about it. And now that they're out, it feels so wonderful, and I have a completely different experience watching them, because I know that other people are watching them. Yeah. And having the experience of going, okay, so why is this tree in this person's home? How did they get this tree in this person's home? What does it mean? I feel like we should maybe talk about that a bit. So like
and shout out to Elvis and Reed, our production design team.
Production design team. They were extraordinary given the like limited budget and limited time that we had. I wanted to create, in one of the videos, we fill an entire room with greenery. And they did that all in like 4 hours the day beforehand. It was
unbelievable. And then they struck that set and built a whole new set in one day.
And pulled a tree up the stairs so I could drag it down. And and cleaned up the whole house. It was incredible. I mean, my house did have little bits of dirt in the corners for weeks afterwards. It was a real process. But I feel like people need to know that the tree is now planted in my garden.
Yeah.
And thriving. It is thriving. I thought it was going to die. Elvis was convinced it was going to die. But it is thriving.
Yeah. So the tree, do you want to talk about the symbolism? Do you want to talk about why we chose the tree?
Yeah, I mean, I simultaneously want people to make their own deductions of what the tree means to them, but also you, me, and Andros, our wonderful choreographer, and also Andros stars in the videos alongside me, had some really wonderful, lengthy conversations about relationships and untangling relationships and both the delicacy and also the violence that it takes to
Yep.
to end a relationship or to untangle yourself from a relationship. And I remember the morning that you called me. We had our idea for Bugs to Kill, and we vaguely knew what we were going to do for Moral High Ground, but we had no idea what we were going to do for Holding On. And you called me and you were like, what if we just had this beautiful tree in the middle of the room that you and Andros are trying to nurture and keep alive? And then at some point you realize that you can't nurture it any longer, and it's like this albatross around your neck, and you drag the tree through your house violently, viscerally, exhaustingly, drag it through your house and put it and dispose of it. And that just felt so exciting to me. I was like immediately thrilled. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I remember calling like several friends after we'd had that conversation, because I was just like so elated by the idea of doing this like slightly crazy, strange, beautiful thing.
Ah, that's great. And I feel like for me, it added this texture to sort of this really deeply moving and tender piece of music, where the violence of it is surprising.
Yeah, and we didn't want the videos to be too pretty. Like I remember when we were talking about the aesthetic and what I was going to wear, you didn't want, and I love this because I do so much as an actress where I'm kind of super glammed up, or like in a corset, or in like a full face of makeup in some ridiculous outfit. You didn't want us to go that direction with the way that I looked in the videos. You wanted me to be in my jeans. Little Easter egg for people. These are the jeans that I wear in the videos and that I wear basically every day of my life.
They're the jeans you were wearing every time we hung out and met. So
yeah, these are, I just, as a person in my day-to-day life, I like to wear the same thing all the time.
I love them. They look great. And we did explore some overall options for you, and ultimately these looked the best. Yeah,
this is what we ended up doing. But yeah, I love that we had a lot of conversations about keeping the aesthetic raw and natural, and I mean ugly in moments. Like we didn't want it to be like beautiful and polished.
No, and I, as a filmmaker, I'm really driven to, as an artist, I'm really driven to sort of the depth of emotion that something imperfect brings. And I think that if something is too perfect and too beautiful and too aesthetic, it doesn't always work for me. And also, these were songs that needed to also shine. The video couldn't overpower the songs. The songs still had to drive the video. And that was really, really, and the music, that was really important to me. But I remember talking to you because you had watched both of my short films, which are intentionally very lo-fi.
They were, I had this instinctive reaction watching, within the first 3 minutes of watching Sincerely Eric, which was Naz's first film. Naz made the Sincerely Eric over the pandemic, having never made a movie before. And then it went on to win Vimeo Best Short Film of the Year award. Yeah. It was a Vimeo staff pick. It's been written about and shared so many times. I love Sincerely Eric and I love Andros in the City, which are sort of part of the same project. But I had this instinctive reaction 3 minutes into watching it that you were the filmmaker that I wanted to work with on these videos.
Oh, that means so much to me. And
yes, I think, please, everyone watching this, please go and watch Naz's first two films. They will move you, they'll make you cry, they'll make you happy. They're just, they make me very happy, these movies. And they have that same feeling that I think you're talking about with the Holding On video, of that you come back and watch it again and again, and you're not quite sure why.